Y'all want to know a dirty secret? I happen to love crescent kicks. A lot of people don't, and we're going to talk about why. But crescent kicks are among my favorite kicks. Plus, this is my channel, so we talk about what I want. That in mind, today we're going to talk about the crescent kick. All right, the crescent kick, aka the Mikazuki Geri, or the Crescent kick if you're fancy, is presented in one of two ways. You have the inside crescent, which is coming from the outside going in, and you have the outside crescent, which is the inside going out. Both of these are pretty useful, but they're used in different ways. Now, one of the main reasons people hate the crescent kick so much is because it looks super hard to do because it requires our hips to be very flexible. But with just a little bit of hip mobility work, you can actually accomplish these crescent kicks pretty easily. So let's start from the beginning. We're gonna do a nice easy drill where I put a hurdle right in front of me, and all I'm gonna do is bring my leg over that hurdle and then back again. Once over and then back again. Notice that my posting foot isn't staying forward because now my range of mobility is all gonna be right here. I wanna come through my center line. So I let my posting foot turn with me as I go for this hip mobility. This is gonna help me get the full range of motion that I need for my crescent kick. A lot of people hate the crescent kick because they feel like they don't have the mobility to do it. And yeah, you don't. You kind of suck that way. But it's very easy to solve that problem. Just do the work, the boring work, of getting your hips nice and fluid. We're gonna start with the inside crescent because I think that one's a little bit harder to do, meaning once we get to the outside crescent, it's gonna be that much easier. So we already have step one, which is bringing our leg from the outside to the inside. Now, if I wanted to do this more Thai style, as in Muay Thai style, what I could do is throw the full weight of my leg over as I do my crescent kick. This wouldn't be super devastating, but this gives me a really easy headshot when I'm getting close to clinching range with my opponent. So again, I come in here, boom, boom. There's my inside crescent kick. Same thing with the other leg. I'm just here. Now, one of the main problems with the Thai style crescent kick is that it's very easy to get this leg caught on my opponent's shoulder, leaving me exposed for a sweep. In that case, we're gonna do the karate style crescent kick, which is less about swinging the full weight of the leg and more about creating that snap from the knee. I'm still bringing my hip up at a slight angle, but now I'm bringing my leg up bent. Earlier it was coming up full extension of the leg, now I'm keeping my knee chambered here. Once my knee reaches about 90 degrees, I'm gonna snap the leg out and whip the hip over. So again, it's here. The more snap I can generate from the leg, the harder it's gonna be for them to catch my kick. Even if it lands on the shoulder, I'm gonna have the ability to bring my leg back to me. So you can go for the Thai style swing, or you can go for the karate snap. And actually, there's really no either or in martial arts. Sometimes you wanna do the heavy swing, sometimes you wanna do the quick snap. Neither one is wrong, it just depends on the situation. The other reason I like the inside crescent so much actually has nothing to do with the inside crescent. Because once my opponent knows that I'm the kind of asshole who does this and this, they're just gonna keep their hands up no matter where the leg's coming from. Meaning, it doesn't matter if I'm gonna throw a crescent kick or a roundhouse kick, their hands are gonna be up and my kicks are gonna be null and void. But if they keep their hands up here, that means they're not guarding right here. In which case, I'm gonna change from the crescent kick into the side kick. So what I'm doing is chambering the kick midway through into my chest and then extending straight out to throw a side kick. I'm pivoting on my posting foot. I'm going from here, pointing at 12 o'clock, and as the leg comes in, I'm turning over to either 3 or 9 o'clock. So I have to get very good at coming from here to here. And you'll notice as the leg swings, I bring it into the chest. All of this is to make myself a good salesman. Because if I just go from here to here, then I'm just throwing a standard side kick. Even if I add a little arc to it, it just looks like I'm throwing a bad side kick. So make sure you're selling the crescent to deliver the side kick. Now let's talk about the outside crescent kick, which is just the reverse of the inside crescent. So we're gonna grab that footage and play it backwards and you'll figure out this kick. I'm just kidding. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna bring my rear leg across my body like this. You could think about this like you're stepping into the side stance or like you're faking like you're gonna throw a front or a roundhouse kick. Once I bring my leg across, I'm then just gonna snap it back across the same way I do with the outside crescent. So once again, I can do this Thai style where I bring the whole leg across, or I could snap it over just like that. like I said, this is really good like you're faking, like you're gonna throw a front kick or a roundhouse kick. But once you have your opponent worried about that, you bring it across from the other side. And this is why I like the crescent kick so much. It can be extremely deceptive to make your opponent think, oh, it's coming there. Oh, it's coming there. Wait, now it's coming from the other side. So if you get good at making this chamber look nice and convincing, you can confuse your opponent about where that kick is coming from. Now, I'll be honest, I don't super like using the outside crescent kick to get those headshots, because if I can land this kick, I can more likely land a switch roundhouse, or I can even just throw some hands. So the outside crescent isn't my best choice for those shots, but it's a very good introduction for the axe kick, the Andy Hoog special. The axe kick is exactly half of the crescent kick. With the crescent kick, I'm going from point A all the way to point B. But with the axe kick, I'm going from point A to point A and a half, which I'm pretty sure is a real thing. And it's kind of a fusion of the karate snap and the full weight of the leg dropping down. So what I do is bring my leg across, up, and then straight down. The more I can bring my leg straight up in the air, the more I'm going to be able to drop it on my opponent's shoulder, clavicle, or on the side of the head. I don't necessarily want to drop it on the top of the head. That's a really heavy skull. But if I can get it here in the temple, or even across the guard to drop their hands, this is going to be a devastating kick. So once again, I come in here, again. What you want to work on is bringing this leg up to your head and then back down. If my leg only comes halfway, that might be fine if they have a very low guard. But if their arms are nice and high like they should be, I want to make sure this leg comes all the way up before it drops down. So again, I come in here. I want to do a full swing of the hip. I want to do a half swing of the hips. So I go all the way over, and then right in the middle, I stop that velocity and drop it down. Again, I come in here. Complaints about the crescent kick. Number one, it doesn't sound super cool when I do it on a heavy bag. Whether we're talking about the outside crescent or the inside crescent, those don't sound half as good as a halfway decent roundhouse kick. But that just boils down to surface area. With the roundhouse kick, I'm wrapping my shin across the bag. Whereas with the crescent kicks, it's that tiny blade of the foot or the inside palm of my foot making contact. So I'm either hitting like this or like this. And when you compare that to my giant shin bone, obviously it's not going to sound as good. But take your ego out of the strike. If you watch Kyokushin fights, you could see there's hundreds if not thousands of knockouts every year due to crescent kicks, because it's a really powerful strike focused in a very small surface area. Think about it. I can put a lot more power in my elbow than I can in my punch just because of the smaller surface area. But if I want to sound cool, then obviously I'm going to use the larger surface area to make the bag make some noise. And in that case, you might as well just be slapping the bag, because that's going to be as loud as possible. To be honest, I don't think the heavy bag is the best tool for practicing the crescent kick. Yes, you can and you should squash that ego a little bit and just practice it on the heavy bag, but that doesn't make it the best tool. I actually think something like the speed bag or even pads with a partner are a better way to practice the crescent kick. But all practice is good practice as long as it's not practicing Aikido. I jest. Complaint number 2 about the crescent kick. This actually has less to do with the kick itself and more to do with people just being uninformed about how self-defense works. I don't hear any kick used more as a defense against knives than the crescent kick, because people think that you can just walk up and kick a knife out of someone's hand. And yes, technically that's true. If a person is just standing there holding a knife out in front of you, you can theoretically kick the knife out of their hand. But you could also then theoretically slap the knife out of their hand. There would be no reason to involve your leg slapping that knife out if you could just quickly slap with the hand. If someone has a knife drawn on you, you've made a whole bunch of mistakes that led you to that situation. And engaging with this low percentage strike in that situation would be one of the dumbest things you could possibly do. Conversely, you can use the crescent kick to drop someone's guard in a consensual fight. And in a consensual fight, they're not expecting a foot to come drag their hands down. So you can use that kick to open up for more combinations. But that's in a consensual fight scenario, not in self-defense. Consensual fights are where you get to play around and show off your techniques. Self-defense is about A, avoiding the need for those techniques, but B, doing the simplest, most effective techniques against someone who isn't expecting you to fight back. So complaint number 2 is not a complaint about the kick itself, but it is one that we need to address. All right, there were the in and outs of the in and out crescent kick, as well as the crescent to the side kick and the axe kick. And while we didn't go too in-depth in the axe kick, that's going to be a video all on its own, I hope I showed you guys that regardless of what style you practice, the crescent kick can be a valuable kick. Whether or not you choose to use it in your fights, that's up to you. But having the hip mobility to throw your kicks from any direction you choose is something that's valuable to all of us. So, if you're looking for a channel that combines the practicality of combat sports with the reality of self-defense and the fun of traditional martial arts, then please be sure to subscribe, tap the notification bell, like, share, and leave a comment. And if you want to show support to the channel, head on over to combatsd.square.site and pick up a t-shirt, crop top, tank top, coffee mug, or any of the other merch we have on the site. That's the best way to show support. This has been Rob from Combat Self-Defense. I want to thank you for all the hard work. Thank you for the hard work yet to be done, and I'll see you next time. Crescent kick, wheel kick.